Video, we're going to walk through how to join a system running Windows 11 into a Windows domain running on Windows Server 2022. Now there's a few dependencies that we have. First of all, you need a Windows Server 2022 installation, either a physical system or a virtual machine. You also need a system running Windows 11, again, a physical system or a virtual machine. You need administrator privileges on both the client system and the server, and you need the Active Directory domain created and running on your Windows server. If you don't know how to set up the virtual machines, make sure to go check out the videos on installing Windows as a virtual machine first before you watch this video. Okay, so first things first, I'm on the server here, and I'm going to go to Tools and Active Directory Users and Computers. I just want to show you that we have nothing in the computers folder here. So there are no computers that are joined to this domain currently. Now on our Windows 11 system, we're going to go ahead and open up the Start menu, and we're going to type View Network Connections. And we'll go ahead and select that. And then you're going to find your network interface card here. We're going to right click on that, and we're going to select Properties. Now we're going to select IPv4, and then we're going to select Properties again. Now one of the things that you have to do when you're setting this up is you have to tell your system which network it's going to be on, and you have to actually give the DNS information for the DNS server or for the directory server. So back on our server, we're going to open up a command prompt window here. It doesn't have to be an administrator level one. It can just be any command prompt window. And we're going to type ipconfig. We need to know what the IP address is of our server. All right, so back on our Windows 11 computer, we're going to change this, and we're going to enter in our own IP address here. So 192.168.163 and 66. It really doesn't matter, but it needs to be on that same network. And then the subnet mask, if you click in the box, it'll automatically generate it because it thinks that it's a Class C address, which is great. That's fine. The default gateway, we're going to put 192.168.163.1. That's typically what the default gateway is. And then the DNS server, this needs to be your domain controller or your server where Active Directory is installed. So we're going to put 192.168.163 and 133. For the alternate DNS server, you can put something else such as Google server, so 8.8.8.8, and that's fine. But essentially what's going to happen is we're going to make calls to the DNS server, so the server that's running Active Directory, and that's how it will know where our domain is located. So we'll go ahead and hit OK on this and close. If you don't provide that DNS server for your domain controller, it's not going to be able to find your domain when you go to add it. So it's really important that you do that. So we'll go ahead and close out of this. Now the first way we're going to join this to the domain is going to be manually. So we're going to go to the Start menu, and we're going to type Settings. And we'll select that. We're going to scroll down to About and click on that. Now you're going to have this option here that says Domain or Workgroup. We're going to go ahead and select that. Now you have two different ways you can do this. You can use this wizard. We're not going to do that in this video, but we're going to click on Change and add it to the domain from there. So we'll click Change. You can see it's in a workgroup, so it's not in any domain. And we're going to select Domain. Now in here, if you remember back to our video when we were setting this up initially, we used demo.lab, and that's what's on our server for our domain. If you set it up a different way or use something else, then of course you would want to use that in here, but that's what we use, so that's what we're going to put in here, and we're going to hit OK. Now we get this pop-up window that's asking us for administrator level privileges on the domain. So not on the local system, on the domain. So we're going to type demo/administrator, and then we're going to enter our password. And we'll hit OK. And now we've successfully joined it to the domain. It is going to make us restart this to take effect. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. We'll hit OK again, and we'll close this. And we'll select Restart Now. To the domain, so we don't want to use that local account anymore. So we're going to select Other User, and we're going to enter in the same credentials because that's just the username that we're going to use. If you had another account, then you could totally use that in here. But again, because we had the administrator account set up, that's the only account we have set up right now. That's what we're going to use. We'll hit return. Just like when we're first setting this up, this is a new account as far as this computer is concerned. So it wants to go ahead and set everything up like it needs to. Okay, so at this point, this system is connected to the domain. If we go back to our server and we go to Tools and then Active Directory Users and Computers, now we can see that our system is successfully added into our domain. Now let's say for whatever reason, you want to remove this system from the domain. Okay, no problem, it's pretty easy. We'll go to the Start menu, we'll go to Settings again, we'll go to About, and we'll go to Domain or Workgroup. Then we'll select Change, and you can see it's part of the domain right now. We're going to select Workgroup, and we're just going to call this Workgroup. We'll hit OK, and this is saying you're going to need the local administrator account now because you're leaving the domain. We'll hit OK. We'll hit OK again to welcome us to the Workgroup. And it needs to restart again, so we'll hit OK. Close, and restart now. Okay, now we're going to log back in with that local administrator account. Remember, that's because the system is no longer part of the domain, so we need to use that local account again. Since we've removed the system, now we don't have that centralized functionality that we typically have when we're controlling systems through a domain. If we go back to our server and we refresh our Active Directory list, you can see that it was in here, but it is not in the domain any longer. It has this kind of down arrow on it. So we can go ahead and delete that. Now let's say you want to add a system to the domain, but you want to use PowerShell. It's very easy to do that as well. We'll go to the Start menu, and we'll open up a PowerShell window. We want to run this as administrator. Select Yes. We need to provide our domain name, and we need to provide our domain administrator credential. So we're going to enter in our username here. Don't enter your password yet. Hit return. And now it's going to prompt us to enter in our password. Again, this is the password for the administrator account of the domain, not the local account. So we'll hit OK. Now this is saying this is going to take effect when we restart our computer, just like when we did it manually. So there's two ways you can obviously restart your computer. You can go to the Start menu and do it that way, or you can just type shutdown/R. The shutdown/R command is going to go ahead and shut down the computer and then restart it. All right, again, we're going to go to Other User, and you can see this says Sign into Demo, which is our domain. So we're going to use the domain credentials again. And now the system is rejoined to the domain again. If we go back to our server and we look in Active Directory Users and Computers and we refresh, we're going to see that computer is back in there again. Now, one other important thing that I want to show you, and it's kind of a trick, is if you go ahead and you sign out and we select Other User, now you can see that this is showing that it's going to log into our domain. If we do /, that's going to change to a local user account. So if you ever had to use that local administrator account again, you can do the // and then type in your administrator credentials. And then you can still log in with it. So now we're signed in as that local administrator account and not the domain account. Now, if you had any users that had local accounts, typically once you're going to join it to the domain, you want to disable those accounts and prevent people from logging into those accounts. Even with a local administrator account, you want to put more restrictions in place because you don't want people to normally log in there, even if it's your administrators. You want them to use their domain credentials.